Well, thank you so much for being with us on another edition of Austin Fit Talks. Excited to be joined today by Jeannine Odines, who's the Executive Director for the Komen of Greater Central Texas. Thanks so much for making some time for us today.
You bet. Happy to be here.
I know, you like everybody is kind of reimagining your world right now as we get used to this new reality. What has it been like for you guys as you kind of try to transition into a virtual world right now?
Right. Well, we're grateful that we've had the support of other affiliates and our Komen headquarters as well. But it has been challenging, right? Because not everybody knows what virtual means. What
Sure.
it looks like in a walk kind of space. But, as far as our team goes, we've been operating from our homes since March, and our walk planning committees have been super dedicated and flexible in shifting with us as we went along. We're super grateful too that we have amazing sponsors, particularly our presenting sponsor, a longtime sponsor, Dell Technologies, who stood with us, and several others who made it possible for us to continue with the virtual walk this year.
And the virtual walk, that's really one of the big reasons why we wanted to talk to you. It's coming up soon, the More Than Pink Walk. September 27th is the virtual kickoff. Tell us what this event is going to look like this year and what you have planned.
Right. Well, we're encouraging everybody to walk where you are. So even though we're in the middle of this pandemic, we know breast cancer hasn't stopped for this pandemic, and there's breast cancer patients that are in the middle of treatment, survivors and their families who are really counting on us, on Komen and this entire More Than Pink Walk community to come together to raise awareness and raise the funds that are needed to help save lives and end this disease once and for all. So, as we move forward, what the virtual walk looks like is on September 27th at 9 a.m. We will be broadcasting our opening ceremonies, just like what you would see if you were in person on our stage. We'll have that shared on our Facebook page and on YouTube. So we want everybody to tune in for that. We'll also have some intermittent programming for about the next hour after that. But we want everybody to get out, and you can choose the time that you want to do it. While we would love to see everybody out there at 9 a.m. or shortly after that opening ceremony, if the weather or your schedule doesn't allow you to do that, you're welcome to walk earlier or later, the day before or after. It's totally up to you. So it's customizable. I think that's the cool thing about this virtual walk, is that anybody can participate wherever they are. They can choose who they want to walk with. They can choose where they walk, whether it's their neighborhood or if they want to venture out to a local park or a trail, right? There's lots of those amazing spaces in Austin and in the surrounding areas. And the other thing is they get to choose their distance and their speed, if you will, right? We have runners out there who enjoy running. Go for it. We totally want to see you do that. If you're more of a walker or a jogger, or you want to dance your way even through the walk route, you're welcome to do that. And if you don't know where to walk, if that's not something that's routine for you, we certainly want to encourage you to get out and get moving. So you'll find on our Austin More Than Pink Walk Facebook page, we've loaded some sample walk routes that are across the area. Thanks to our friends at Raceworks, they put those together for us so we could share it with folks who might not have that as part of their normal activity and would like a little help or suggestion in that space.
That's a great idea. I love that. It's interesting what you're saying, because I mentioned this on a previous episode, but my wife and we did a virtual run not too long ago. And I mean, we all understand obviously the magic and the power of everybody being assembled together. But I will say there was something nice about being able to just kind of do it on our schedule. We didn't have to be at a set spot at a set time. And we did it in our neighborhood on a route that we were familiar with. And yeah. I think there's ways to still make it fun, kind of to what you were alluding to.
Yeah, I think what I've seen, we've had a couple of our events so far. We had one in Tyler just last month, and the pictures look very much the same. It's pretty cool as the in-person event, because there's people decked out in their walk t-shirts, wearing their pink tutus, their pink hair, and everyone there celebrating and honoring and remembering, those folks in their lives who've been impacted by breast cancer. And I think it's really powerful when you kind of take that zoom lens out a little bit and look at the Austin area and our 5 counties, and think about all the people who'll be walking all over. And who knows who you might run into that you didn't know was also a supporter of breast cancer, or is a breast cancer patient or survivor that's in your own neighborhood that you might not have seen at a 5,000 person event downtown.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe there's an opportunity also just to reach people that you otherwise would not have, who wouldn't have been downtown on that day and wouldn't have seen the event. Maybe they'll see people in their neighborhood.
Yeah, absolutely. We, especially for the Austin area, cover Bastrop, Caldwell, Hayes, Williamson, and Travis County. So I think that this is a great opportunity. We would generally have a great contingent come from San Marcos, and a lot of folks from Williamson County, Leander, Cedar Park area come in, but really gives the opportunity for everyone, like you said, do it on your own time, do it in a space that works for you, gather your friends and neighbors or co-workers who might not have otherwise participated, and introduce them to this event and invite them to participate as well.
I'm sure it's been challenging for your team, but is it fun in some ways to try to be creative and figure out how can we still make this special and still make this happen?
It is, we all learning to do this video thing, right?
Yeah, all the time.
Part of our world right now. And we're really trying to transition everything that was a component of the walk before to a virtual environment. So we'll have, for instance, our mission pillars that teach people about the research, care, community, and action that are foundational to Komen's mission. We'll have opportunities for people to learn about that on our More Than Pink Walk app, as well as some videos that'll be posting the week of the event and on event day. There'll be some special shout outs to survivors, some survivor stories, and a special Hope Village video that we'll share listing all the survivors that are registered for this year's walk. So you want to make sure you get registered so your name's on that list. And we have a special We Remember video, a neat link that we have where people can share pictures, videos, or stories about somebody that they lost to breast cancer and they would like to remember and honor memory in that way. So we have lots of great ways to kind of transition and learn, learning to create videos and share those. That's the key way that we're communicating. I would say the other cool thing, Ricky, is that we started, one of the awesome things about the walk is it's really just about connection, right? Not just about connection, but it's a huge way for breast cancer patients and survivors and the community to come together and connect and find people that have been on a similar journey. And so that's been very healing for a lot of breast cancer patients and survivors that I've talked to over the years. And I think for the community too, it's very inspiring. I've talked to folks that don't even have breast cancer in their family and they've done the walk and been inspired by the number of people that come out and take the time to support not only Komen, but the patients and survivors that are part of our local community. And so what we're trying to do is create, how do we get that connection right in a virtual space? It's a little bit difficult when you can't touch and feel and hug everybody.
Sure.
And we have a More Than Pink Walk Facebook group just for Austin. So if you're a participant, we want you to join. And this space is really, it's a closed group, but it is public, so you can search for it. But in there, we really want folks to share your pictures, share a video or a post about why you're doing the walk or who you're doing it for, where you're walking, what crazy costume you're going to wear that day. I think it's a place where we can high five folks that are doing a great job fundraising, or provide words of encouragement to survivors and breast cancer patients who might be going through a rough time, or celebrate, that they have another year of survivorship or another day of survivorship. So I think really encourage everyone to engage in that space. And who knows, that might be a space that we continue to engage in throughout the year, not just during this event.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. You mentioned the costumes. I was going to ask you, costumes still encouraged? Because that's one of the things that always stands out to me about this event is the colors and the costumes, and don't be afraid in your neighborhood, right?
Right, absolutely. We have one breast cancer survivor who told us that she said for every person that donates to her, they get to vote on her costume. So she did an entire fashion show. She went to, I think, Goodwill or something similar and bought a bunch of crazy pink clothes and then fashion show and had all her donors vote on what she would wear that day. And she's like, if I can bring a smile and also, raise awareness at the same time, that's important. But we totally encourage that. We've seen great costumes along the way. There's lots of pictures on our website about that. The creativity is amazing. And it's just really a way to, spread joy. And, as one of our teams is called Team Lemonade, make lemonade out of lemons, right? Both breast cancer and this pandemic this year, let's bring some joy and fun into the event.
One of the things that you said that kind of resonated with me that I guess maybe seems obvious, but you might overlook is, even though the pandemic is happening, breast cancer hasn't stopped. The need to raise money hasn't stopped. I mean, how much added importance is there on this event and continuing to raise
Yeah.
funds despite everything that's happening?
Right. Well, this is critically important, this event. It's responsible for over 60% of our annual revenue needed so that we can continue to uh, meet the critical needs of our breast cancer community, as well as invest in that breakthrough research so we can finally end this disease. And so it's critically important. This is an awareness event, but it's also a fundraising event. And it's what's made the progress possible all these years that Komen's been around. And so whether or not you walk, we would love for you to walk, because that community is so important, again, to our breast cancer patients and survivors and to Komen. But if you can donate, to either somebody that that is walking, or directly to the event and to Komen. Breast Cancer Awareness Month is coming up. While we can definitely raise all the awareness possible, we really need action. And it's that community coming together, that community taking action that makes the research and care possible, right? I talk about our 4 pillars. They all go hand in hand. And it's critically important. We have, during this pandemic, we know that there's been a huge decrease in the number of screening mammograms. And so what we are expecting is that we're going to see more late stage diagnosis of breast cancer because of waiting to get those screening mammograms. Now, in addition, we know that the proper protocols are all in place now. The health and safety protocols that the screening centers have in place now are ready to receive patients. So we encourage everyone to get back into a rhythm of getting your breast cancer screenings. And then in addition, those people who are currently undergoing treatment, think about the economic impact of this pandemic and how many people have likely lost jobs or lost health insurance, or just are more financially strapped. And so they're going to need some additional assistance. And Komen's treatment assistance program provides that, but we need the funds from this walk to continue to invest in that, especially for the greater need. And that's available to anybody all over, wherever they live. They don't have to be close to a particular healthcare facility or anything like that. We'll be able to take care of them no matter where they live.
Yeah, kind of to your point, I think one of the unfortunate things we've seen with the pandemic is how it's in a lot of ways affecting, communities of color and maybe less fortunate communities more than others. Does that translate in some ways over to kind of your point about breast cancer? It's more difficult for people to get the treatment they need?
Yes, what we know is that African American women are 40% more likely to die of breast cancer than white women. And a lot of that has to do with social determinants of health, access to health care, and the education to be able to get that screening done. And so there's lots of health equity issues, though, that are beyond that, right? We have rural communities that don't have a lot of access. We have folks that have language barriers or cultural barriers that prevent them from getting the care that they need. So Komen is addressing breast cancer on all fronts. We say we have a 360-degree approach. And not only are we investing in that research and that patient care, but also in advocacy and state policies to make sure that folks, no matter where they live, whatever their income level is, or whatever they look like, or their zip code is, that they have access to the same quality health care that everyone should enjoy.
You mentioned October being Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I think people are aware of that, but beyond a walk or beyond, of course, donating is important, but what else do you ask people to do during that month to call attention to breast cancer and help raise awareness?
Well, I think for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, we really encourage everyone to prioritize their health and to know the 4 steps to breast health. And that is getting screened, knowing your family history, knowing what's normal for you, because breast cancer doesn't always show up as a lump. So knowing your own body and what it looks like and what's maybe different about it. And then living a healthy lifestyle, right? We know that maintaining a healthy weight and being active Studies show that will greatly reduce your risk of a breast cancer diagnosis. And we also know that if you are living a healthy lifestyle, our friends, at Texas Oncology and others will tell us that helps a patient sustain and sustain treatment a lot better. So we want to encourage that healthy lifestyle, and then learning more about breast cancer. There's not a huge percentage of breast cancers that are due to family history. It's a low percentage. So we want people to know that the biggest risk factors are being female and getting older. And so, just educating yourself about that. And then, investing in learning more about Komen and what we do, because it's not just one single disease. It's a very complicated thing, right? There's more than one kind of breast cancer, and we're doing research to affect treatment and disparities, across the board.
I think that aligns, so closely with the mission at Austin Fit Magazine is just trying to get people to lead a healthier lifestyle, whatever that means, whether it's exercising or diet. Do you find that, if people participate in, say, the More Than Pink Walk, this can often be, the motivation or the catalyst to make a change in their lifestyle?
Well, definitely it can be. I mean, getting out and being motivated by, hundreds and thousands of others who are doing the same thing. And then hearing the stories of breast cancer patients, right, who, I've talked to one recently who waited. She was afraid to go in and get screened. And so even though she knew something was wrong, and so she waited, and she had a much later diagnosis, and they had some really rigorous treatment that they had to address. But as far as getting out and getting healthy, yeah, I think this is a great opportunity for people to get that ball rolling, to set a goal. We're encouraging everyone to do at least 6,000 steps. Now they can choose to do that all in one day on this September 27th, or they can choose to spread that out, and they're certainly welcome to increase that if they like. So we encourage everyone to stay fit and stay healthy. And we're also doing a workout Wednesday with Austin Fit leading up to the walk. So we're excited to offer our participants that option as well.
That's great. I love that. I'm sure in your role, you hear these powerful survival stories or stories of families that they've got to just be so inspirational. I mean, how much did that kind of stick with you, on a daily basis when you're hearing stories like that and getting to touch people like that?
It's foundational to the work. I've learned so much over 10 years from survivors, and especially, again, a survivor who I spoke with the other day said how their breast cancer journey really prepared them for this pandemic because of the uncertainty and basically loss of control you have when you're diagnosed with cancer. And early on, I remember telling our team, like, this is a time for us to be in solidarity with our breast cancer patients and survivors and everything they've taught us over the years. They've definitely represented values and characteristics across the years that really come into play now, right? Strength, perseverance, courage, moving forward every day, even when we don't know when this pandemic's going to end. I draw a lot of strength from them. One of my favorite sayings from one of our past walk chairs was cultivate hope, right? Stay positive. You can try to stay positive, but some days are really hard, right? I'm sure many people are encountering that, and we encounter that whether it's, going through breast cancer, whether it's through this pandemic, whether it's, managing your commitment to health and fitness. Some things are going to go wrong. You're going to have good days. You're going to have bad days. But that cultivating hope and doing whatever it takes, those are some of the things that I've heard from breast cancer survivors that have been inspirational and have really stuck with me.
What, you said you've been with Komen for 10 years. What motivates you? What makes you want to make this your life's work? And because I'm sure it's not always easy. I'm sure there's a lot of very difficult parts of the job as well.
Yeah. Well, it's the people. My first walk, I was totally in awe and inspired by the amazing race committee at that time. It was the Race for the Cure back then. And the amount of time and energy and love and devotion that they put into putting on this event for the breast cancer patients and survivors and their families and for this community is amazing. And we still have an amazing committee in Austin today. and can't thank them enough for everything that they do. So I think, they inspire me on a regular basis because the way they show up, they have full-time jobs and they spend all this time outside of that to make this all happen. And then, of course, the survivors and the other volunteers that just, they're counting on us. They're counting on us to be here to solve the problem. And I like to find solutions and I know it all. And I know it takes all of us to come together to do it. But I'd love to be part of that solution. And so that's what inspires me is they keep me going, the people.
Well, it's obviously so important, so special what y'all are doing. If we can leave people with a message, the walk is September 27th.
Yeah.
How do we sign up? How do we get involved? And what's the kind of a final message for people?
Yeah, the final message is you are all invited. We want everyone to join us. You can register at komenwalk.org. It's a free registration this year. We're encouraging everyone to raise $100. That's the cost of a mammogram. So raise 100 or raise several hundred. It's up to you. We will have a drive-through t-shirt pickup the day before the walk. And so there's more information on the website about that. And we just encourage everyone to share their photos and their pictures and their comments with us. Hashtag walk where you are and hashtag Komen Walk Austin. And we can't wait to see you all.
Okay, Jeannine, thank you so much. This was great.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ricky. Appreciate you.
Okay, and if you missed any of our Austin Fit Talks, you can find them all on our website at Austin Fit Magazine.